What is going on, Panther Lair? We are back talking about the Pittsburgh Panthers' recent losses at the Virginia Cavaliers and at home to the SMU Mustangs. I don't normally group two games together. However, after Pitt lost on the road to the Cavaliers by 20 points, only putting up 47 points in the process, which was a season low for them. Didn't feel that there was like enough tape that I thought, other than kind of rehashing a lot of the things that, I've talked about so far this year. So gave it another game. Unfortunately, they lost by 19 points to the Mustangs as well. So again, not a ton of positive here, but I think there's been enough over the last two games to talk about some things that aren't necessarily just the obvious things that usually plague this team, right? They don't shoot the ball well. They turn the ball over. They just go through big scoring droughts. Like, we've covered those things. Kind of want to talk about a silver lining here, especially going to the game against the Duke Blue Devils. So we're going to dive into how Cam Corhen has been a little bit more effective in pick and roll situations, particularly as the roll man. We have seen that. I think the one thing that really hurts this team is they don't go to it a lot. Like, they'll go to it very early, have some success, probably turn the ball over there a little bit. Corhen will miss a layup, and then they just completely go away from it. The same thing can be said for the second half as well. I think that he gets a lot of his points, it seems to be in chunks, and they just don't run the same type of thing. And I get it. You can't just run a high ball screen into a pick and roll down the middle, feed it to the roll man every time, and not think a defense is going to stop it. But there's just kind of a weird cadence to how he gets his points, in my opinion. But I digress. Let's dive into 5 possessions here in the last 2 games. Talk about it. First one, this is the opening possession of the game. Wing post here to Barry Dunning Jr. We see that quite a bit. And this will ultimately flow into a DHO that Corhen tends to run here with a Mario Witherspoon. And now, this almost functions as an empty side pick and roll. Pitt has had success with that. Instead, what ends up happening is Roman Cialepa pulls into the corner more. His defender sags off enough just to potentially affect this a little bit. But I think for all intents and purposes, this functions as an empty side pick and roll. The patience here by Corhen is interesting because he doesn't get off that quickly, and so his defender has to start sinking, and he actually comes in late to the sink rate, and I think that's why he ends up getting the alley-oop there. Not sure if that's intentional or not, but did work out. This one here against SMU, really like that this was a complete dive, right? So we don't see that circular route here. We don't see him necessarily open up, just kind of disengages in an immediate dive towards the rim, gets ahead of the sink rate here, allows for this over-the-top lob from Witherspoon. So here we are going to see these side pick and rolls. This is against the Mustangs zone. You're going to see the Panthers are going to run that wheel route. They like to run kind of like that wheel action against the zone. We see that quite a bit. Here it goes. SMU has sniffed this out pretty good. Reasonable communication. But that inside ball screen, which I'm pretty much a fan of if you've listened to anything else that I've done against zones, really puts a lot of pressure here. And what ends up happening is this flows into, this DHO, pitch type of action, is the route that Corhen takes here allows him to screen Miner's man. And I think getting that contact to put him in a trailing position. And that's important here because getting caught up on that forces Corhen's defender to step up to stop dribble penetration, particularly going to the right down the middle of the defense. And in doing so, no one is able to tag over. Now, you could probably help off Cialepa, especially from the corner, quite a bit, but I'm not sure that's going to matter too much against Corhen's size, given the execution. But as it were, this defender takes an extra beat towards Cialepa, so he's not really in a great position to contest. Corhen, of course, brings the ball down, but the patience here to finish, this ends up working out for Pitt. So I do like the action where it's kind of a horns look and then you kind of get these cross screens. The reason this one works out well is because you'll see Corhen's defender is going to leave room for his man to navigate what is, could be a screening action. And in doing so, separates quite a bit from Corhen, which puts him in a trailing position. And now that there's no communicated switches here, he's going to have to catch up. And when he does, he's going to try to stop Miner going right. That just definitely makes sense. But in doing so, that allows Corhen, who takes a immediate disengage route by opening up with this left foot for a direct path. And now there is just nothing but space for him to roll into. This hedge is not going to work at all because Miner's just sinking past the whole time. Injured sight is good. No, just injured sight is good for him for cutting off of this because his man as the low man is clearly helping here. This floater is not always going in, but it was a reasonable attempt. He avoided a charge. This last one here, it's just a short roll. We don't see too many of these just because this shot is not pretty at all. Basically a free throw. But it kind of shows off that you could do a few more things with Corhen. I think ultimately, if Bebo Cummings isn't playing, other than maybe DeMarco Minor self-creation, like sidestepping threes that he may hit here and there, Witherspoon getting downhill, that really Pitt's going to have to rely on a lot more rolls here. And Corhen's the guy that could generate a little bit more gravity without Cummings on the floor. So I do expect to see more of these. Don't think they're going to generate a lot of wins. But, we might see more games where Corhen's in that like he just was against SMU, 15 points on 6 of 10 shooting. We might see more of that. And if the Panthers want to win a game, they're going to have a 15 to 18 point performance from Corhen. He's probably going to have to get more than 3 rebounds. But this is a good place to start for them offensively.